Arch Linux just uncorked its wine bottle to switch to WoW64. What does that mean? Well, Arch Linux is repackaging wine and wine staging as pure WoW64 builds, scrapping the multi-lib dependency and bundling everything needed to run 32-bit Windows apps on a 64-bit kernel. So why this? Why is it happening? Well, upstream Wine's WoW64 this is now mature as what they think. So they're going to be rolling it out in production. So Arch is kind of basically, dropping the extra stack of 32-bit system libraries. So that means there's fewer build steps, fewer mirrors to sync, and also fewer issues of not being able to find lib32-whatever SO files. So that's going to be nice. Also, there's a quick heads up for gamers and people who use legacy apps. Arch is giving a warning about potential issues that OpenGL performance, which is a known limitation of the new WoW64 mode, is reducing performance for 32-bit applications that use OpenGL directly. Now, you may have to do some extra stuff in order to fix some breaking changes. So there's a possibility that you need to recreate the existing 32-bit prefixes in your system. So that could be also even requiring a reinstallation of some apps or games that are affected, because otherwise you may have some missing DLL errors pop up. But this is not that difficult to do. It's just like a small one command, but it is kind of specific to your system. For those unfamiliar, you might be wondering, what is WoW64 anyway? Well, it means Windows on Windows 64-bit. So basically, back in the day when Microsoft decided to switch Windows to 64-bit, they broke a ton of 32-bit programs. Microsoft decided that in order to preserve backwards compatibility, they would run a translation layer that runs 32-bit programs in like a 32-bit mode on a 64-bit machine, calling into Windows API using the 32-bit style, aka the Windows that is on Windows 64. So WoW64 would then take those calls, translate them to 64-bit, and, do its thing. And then translate the response back to 32-bit so the 32-bit program doesn't know it's even running on a 64-bit system. For a long time, Wine has had two versions, a 32-bit version and a 64-bit version. If you ran a 32-bit app, you used the 32-bit Wine stack, and a 64-bit app used the 64-bit stack. This is not how Windows works, and that causes some issues and bugs. Wine wants to be as compatible with Windows as possible, so they implemented WoW64 and is in the process of deploying it. Basically, a 64-bit Wine process hosts a 32-bit lightweight environment, so Windows apps still believe they're on a 32-bit OS, but no multi-lib scaffolding required.